Hey everyone, welcome back to I Married a Film Snob, where we review films of today and yesteryear. In this video, we're going to review the recent Netflix release, The Wonder, directed by Sebastián Lelio and starring Florence Pugh. Make sure to watch until the end to see our rating.
Here we go, let's do it. Now, following in the grandiose footsteps of other past master filmmakers trying to tackle faith and its layered implications, Sebastián Lelio has crafted a noble attempt at questioning the nature of faith and learned dogma. Now, there are subtle and obvious nods to filmmakers like Carlos Dreyer, Ingmar Bergman, and Andrei Tarkovsky. And while the film does handle the subject matter earnestly, it never reaches the levels achieved by those masters in their faith-related films. And as a result, The Wonder never quite ascends to bring new layers to this complex topic.
Florence Pugh is back again, bravely tackling a tough subject matter film, in which she plays Lib Wright, a London nurse tasked with sharing her professional opinion on a strange case developing in a small Irish town. In this isolated town, a young girl has seemingly done the impossible and has willingly forgone eating anything for months, and has somehow survived, solely being nourished by her spiritual resolve and faith.
Anna O'Donnell doesn't eat.
How long exactly has it been since the last time the girl ate?
4 months.
That's impossible.
Nurse Wright and a nun are given the task of watching over the young girl day and night to either confirm, deny, or disprove this miracle, and to see if the family are charlatans. All the while, Nurse Wright is trying to maneuver her own bottled up guilt and sense of loss.
Now, like in other films of the genre, or in Dreyer's Ordet, the film is anchored by two opposing factions: science backed by learned rationale, and in the opposite spectrum, faith and its unyielding religious fervor. Now, there are characters that represent these opposing sides in the film, and sometimes it feels like they're just there merely to contrast these notions. And as a result, they never get fully fleshed out. They are neatly arranged in a tribunal setting, underscoring their opposing duality and seeking validation for their respective side, yet at the same time they feel like placeholders for the themes the film is trying to decipher.
The town doctor, played by Toby Jones, is the most formed of these characters, and his obsession with trying to figure out if the girl will prove an undiscovered medical mystery feels the most earnest. Ciarán Hinds, a great actor, is largely wasted as the family's priest, and his motivations remain more ambiguous and undeveloped.
Now, where the film truly shines is in portraying and understanding the little rituals and sacraments we do every day just to get by, to be able to cope with our failures and lamentations we accumulate throughout our lives. Nurse Wright has a nightly ritual of drinking some form of sedative syrup and pricking her finger just enough to draw blood, all while physically grieving over her dead baby's booties. Now, this action can be seen as a blood sacrifice and a new form of self-injuring host sacrament as a hope of atoning for her grief.
The child, Anna, has to say a prayer every day 33 times to sustain her, because that was Jesus' age at his death. Even the doctor, a rational and educated man, lights candles every day in remembrance of his family. It is these daily sacraments of faith, whether founded in Christian religious doctrine or just created to placate our pain and keep us from going over the edge of sanity.
Now, for me, the film also succeeds in keeping us intrigued until the truth comes out and is revealed. For a little bit more than half of the film, we, like Nurse Wright, are trying to figure out, is this a miracle? Is it real? Is it a scam? How is a young girl pulling this off? Are other people involved? So it keeps us on the edge, wondering that for a good chunk of the film.
Kyla Lord Cassidy, playing the young girl Anna O'Donnell, does a pretty good job showing blind faith and unwavering devotion, even when her body starts to fail. Her interactions with Pugh never cross into melodrama and feel grounded in genuine emotions.
Now, comes a point in the story when Nurse Wright forbids the girl's family from touching her anymore, and soon thereafterwards her health begins to fail. And that's when we get our first inkling that something is afoot, and maybe there's some deception going on. The reveal of the reception is never explicitly shown, but we can figure out what has been happening. Yet this whole movie hangs on is the fact that the young girl Anna truly never thought it was a deception to begin with.
Her guilt about her brother's death, possibly involving some incest, has caused such an emotional toll that she truly does believe the manna from heaven she says has been sustaining her is a miraculous gift, and not simply the fact that her mother is secretly feeding her when she kisses her good morning and good night.
Her faith has caused her not to realize that this bird-like secret feeding is a ruse to the outside world. Yet what is important to note is that even after the discovery has been exposed, the family does not waver. Their faith will cause them to see their actions through, even if it means the death of their daughter.
So the film questions two big notions. Can we be blinded by guilt? thereby allowing stories to form our faith because they console us. And 2, even if the family's actions are a ruse, their resolve to stick to their wrong-headed faith, no matter how immoral the consequences may be, is almost admirable.
I mean, the faith it takes to do that, because they genuinely believe she's going to go to a better place. So they don't think they're doing any harm. They're thinking, well, she's going to go to heaven because her faith is so strong. Our faith is so strong. Now, the film pays homage to these previously mentioned directors, not only thematically, but also in its visual language and its pacing. The film takes its time, and the shots are held and lingered on, and the character interactions are subtle and never rush. For a modern film, I will say the pacing is slow, so get your coffee ready. But if you stick to it, there is a payoff, just like in those old movies from the past, that justifies the measured tempo.
Now mind you, a film about a woman sitting watching a girl lay in bed most of the day is not the most dynamic and visually stirring premise to begin with. But we never get disconnected or bored, although there are a couple of lulls that slow down the film a bit.
Now visually, the film is nicely shot. Off the top of my head, there were 2 or 3 very nice compositions. But I think the film purposely does not want to call too much attention to its visual flares, and instead wants us to focus, the audience, into the actors and the characters and the story.
The watch is to last 2 weeks. We are proposing 8-hour shifts.
There is to be no conferring between the two of you.
And the color palette is muted with grays and earthy browns, augmenting the desolate landscape and tormented characters as well.
Yeah, the whole film mainly takes place inside a house, but there are these shots of this vast landscape that's almost desolate, and you're wondering, does the desolation made these characters go a little off the deep end? Are they so removed from social norms that they've created their own? It's done well, but yeah, the movie at times feels a little just stuck in one place, and that's fine. It's like a play almost, but it's well done.
Yeah, it is. I just wish the visuals were done a little bit better.
Now, for a film snob like me, any film that ends with a burning house, implying a spiritual and cathartic cleanse, in my mind will also be bowing down and paying homage to Tarkovsky in The Mirror, and more specifically, The Sacrifice. And those are some very big shoes to fill. Lelio had to know the image association involved and still went for it, which is fine, but it doesn't cut as intellectually deep as when Tarkovsky does it.
Yeah, it's not as impactful as it should be, right?
It's not as poetic. When Tarkovsky does it, it's poetic. It comes at the end of, things are leading up to it.
Yeah.
In this, it's kind of a way to clean up the storyline and the plot, not plot holes, but the loose plots of the movie.
Yeah. The film is bookended by a break in the fourth wall, exposing the artifice of the film itself, as we are taken backstage to a film lot where the sets of the film are present. This was an interesting choice for a film about faith to start and end with, but it does bring an additional layer to the main question. How much faith can be put into stories? What is make-believe, and does the make-believe in the make-believe by virtue make it real?
Yeah. It's interesting. The movie does show this behind-the-scenes kind of peek at the making of the film. And it's the bigger question, how much faith can we put into a make-believe story? We believe it by going to the movie theaters and sitting down and watching it. We're enthralled. We know it's fake, but we believe it, and we become emotionally engaged. I think that's where the movie tries to go with that book ending, with starting the film behind the scenes and ending that, and having even one of the characters to talk directly to the camera twice in the story. So.
Yeah.
Now, does our faith in stories validate them? Stories are what cement or debunk beliefs, and film, the structure of film, is the ultimate storytelling medium. So Lelio is questioning these concepts by even acknowledging his whole film is an artifice built upon a great story in and of itself.
And now for ratings of the film. What would you give it?
You know, I would rate the film a 6.5 out of 10, only because it's going up against such other classic films of the past that analyze the topic of faith slightly better. You know, Bergman's Winter Light, Dreyer's Ordet, Bresson films, Tarkovsky films. So you're going up against a tall order. You're going against some heavy competition in doing these films. I admire that he's going after this. Not many filmmakers today are going for such kind of deep and heavy things, but when you're going against such classic films that are that much more impactful, that much more poetic, that much more visually stirring, it's a tall order. And I think that, you know, were I not to have seen all those other films in the past, I might have liked it a little bit better.
Possibly,
but when I know what he's referencing, it falls a little bit. So How about you? What would you rate it?
Yeah, I think I would also give it a 6.5. I agree that it has the story, it has the acting, but visually it could have really supported those other elements, and I feel like it really did lack on that end, which in turn left the viewer a little bit less engaged. But the performances were wonderful. I mean, Florence Pugh and
The young
Cassidy,
girl.
yeah, they carried the film pretty well. It's just that the visuals, as well as even the writing a little bit, could have really aided in the perfect package, right?
It was all the elements are there, but the packaging is kind of a little off. So
Yeah.
But Florence Pugh is great.
Wonderful.
The little girl Anna is great. So their moments are the best parts of the movie.
Right.
When they're off just walking and talking, or in bed and they're just kind of confronting each other.
Yeah.
So
Did the film impact me enough to rewatch it? Unfortunately, no. You know, that's the magic of some films, is to keep you wanting more, to get you to rewatch it. And
or you want to go back because you know you're gonna get something new every time.
Right, and I honestly feel that this film didn't deliver that. So
Watch those other films as well, so you know where
we're coming from.
Where we're coming from and what that means. And other filmmakers, modern filmmakers like Carlos Reygadas did one called Silent Light. And that's also about faith. And he's a very good filmmaker. So that it was a little bit more impactful. And even though it's playing clear homage to Ordet. So, but that Reygadas is a smarter filmmaker and a more nuanced filmmaker. So again, it's a tall order. So
definitely watch
sounds
it.
like we're going rough on it.
Right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more Film Snob reviews.